Hi, this is Matt's Bricks, and today I have this Lenco transmission. And if you don't want to hear me explain this, skip ahead, say about 6, 7, I say about 7, 8 minutes. Skip ahead, because I don't have editing, so I don't know when I'm going to be done explaining. But if you would, please listen to me explain this, because I spent a lot of time and work on this, so if you would, please continue with me. So this is Lenco transmission, and it's mostly used for drag racing, and that's why I want to use it, because I'm kind of into drag racing. At least that's one of my favorite entertainments to do, things to do. But this one, instead of your linear shift, which you push it all the way forward and it's first, and then push it back second, and then so on and so forth, or your H pattern, where you move it over and up is first, and then move back second, and up is third, and then back is fourth. Well, with that design, or shift pattern, I should say, whenever you shift from second, when you move it over second, and then up to third, you're supposed to kind of not put any pressure, side pressure, and just move it up, and that's third. Well, some people accidentally put a little bit too much side pressure on it and move back up into first, and which makes it downshift. And whenever you're at higher RPMs and you don't want to downshift and you just have your foot just planted on the throttle, you might blow up your transmission. In fact, you probably will. So the Lenco transmission, it's hard to miss a gear. So you move it up, that's first, and then pull back as second, and then pull that back as third, and then pull back as fourth. I need to adjust this because this is straight cut gear, so it might not be where it's supposed to be at right now. So that's whenever it's all the way down on all of them. So, and whenever I'm using this transmission, I'm gonna have some issues, but hopefully it should work. I have a little bit of issue whenever shifting to third gear, then fourth disengages, and I'll tell you later and explain it of why that's a problem. So here is the mechanism. So here you get your battery box, then your motor, then you have your wheel, and you have your pointer. And then this at the end is just so whenever you move from first to second, you are disengaging, or you're engaging the output shaft. So your output shaft isn't moving. If you just had a point on here, you could do that, but it would move, which would be kind of bad whenever you're trying to have a drive shaft and actual motor running. So this is kind of a big transmission, as you can tell. Had a bigger one at the first version I made. Definitely was not as good. Had more friction, and had a lot more issues. And this one's a lot more different. So whenever you have it all the way, everything in neutral. This is where everything is neutral right now. So when you move it back, that's first gear. So it's going from this motor and then across here, and since this is all neutral, this is not driving anything. So it's going up here, and then there's on here, and this shaft going into here, there is let me show you. There is a small gear to medium gear, and then shift this, and that's another small gear to medium gear. But this one has a slightly higher gear ratio than this. So that's why so everything is geared down until fourth gear. Fourth gear is overdrive, and third gear is 1-to-1. And I'm not sure what the gear ratios is for first and second, but that's how first and second works. Pretty simple just goes from, like I said, across here, up here, and then to one of these small gears to one of these medium gears, depending on which gear you have. And then this is just so that, like I said, the output shaft doesn't move, and that engages in second gear and first gear. It engages. So whenever second gear, and then you shift it into third gear. So that moves up into third gear. That stays down. I have that problem again. So that goes from this motor across here to this shaft, and then up here, and then since this goes from medium gear to small gear to medium gear, and they're all the same exact gear ratios, then that should be 1-to-1. You spin this one time, this should spin one time. And then, so that drives this, but if you had it drive this shaft here and had this spinning, it would just lock up and not work. But since this is disengaged from this, then it works. So then you move on to fourth gear. Move that shifter out of the way. Fourth gear, and that is all the way to fourth gear. And so you have this. This is disengaged, so it won't lock up. And it goes from this motor to here to this, and that is overdriven. And since this is all 1-to-1, then this should be the gear ratio that should make it overdriven. So that's overdriven right there, right here, and then that's 1-to-1. So then it spins the same speed as shaft, and then you have overdrive. And then of course you have to downshift it and make sure that nothing collides. And like I said, the problem I have is that whenever you shift, let's say you shift down from fourth gear, then sometimes that doesn't line up, and then that just pushes it with it, and then it just doesn't like it whatsoever. So that's why I have to hold it down whenever I'm shifting. So assemble that all back together and put you back on this. Put everything back in neutral. Alright, so everything should be in neutral right now. So start up the motor. Start the motor, push this button, everything's running. So move this shifter forward, and that should be first gear. Second gear. Hold fourth gear so it doesn't move. Third gear. And then the fourth gear, it's a little crunchy, but it should work. That's fourth gear. As you can see, it's spinning very fast. Third gear, second gear, and first gear. Of course, that's neutral. So that's how that works. It's a very loud transmission, and it would definitely benefit from WD-40, but overall it works, and hopefully you guys like it. Bye.